If you hate AI generated music, you're not gonna like this video. Hey everybody, Jayce Allan here. Welcome back to the channel. So about a month ago, Rick Beato did a video about how AI will fail just like the music industry is the name of the title. So let's check that out for a second.
The reason I'm talking to you today is really because of a piece of hardware and software that came out in 1999. I've mentioned this before, but it's called the Digi-001 by DigiDesign. You might be like, what is that? It's one of the first digital audio workstations and interfaces made for a computer, which happens to be this G3 right here, which I got back.
So anyway, Rick in that video goes on to talk about how computers disrupted the recording industry, because before home recording studios, in order to record an album or record a single song, you had to go to a studio that had all this equipment, and it cost quite a bit of money per hour to hire this studio to record your song. I mean, you could do it on, like a 4-track cassette recorder, which were still actually pretty expensive back when they first came out. Probably the equivalent of a few $1,000s today to buy a Fostex or a Tascam 4-track, and the quality wasn't exactly great. So if you wanted to record a song or an album, you hired a studio, and the studio had a huge amount of overhead because they had to buy a bunch of equipment and they had to rent space, and it was hundreds of thousands of dollars to build a studio. And when the computer came along and made home recording more accessible, especially now, I mean, you can get an audio interface, plug it into your iPhone, and use GarageBand and record a pretty darn good song for next to nothing. I mean, a good audio interface you can pick up used now for like $50. So the barrier to entry in recording is pretty low. So then he's saying that AI, like the music industry, will sort of collapse because you can now run these large language models locally on your computer. And he uses the example of LM Studio, and I run that myself. AI is a very divisive topic. People either hate it or they like it. I'm sure there's probably more people that are in the middle that don't really care one way about it. I'm a computer nerd. I've got a bachelor's degree in computer information system. I did IT for 9 years, but I'm also an art nerd. I like to play guitar and I like to create graphics. My business right now is Sign Graphics Company that I run with my wife. And so I kind of got my foot in both worlds, so I can kind of see both sides of it. I think the technology is pretty amazing simply because it's fascinating that a computer can actually do what it's doing. And then I can also see the flip side of it where it could be, detrimental to, like replacing artists and, the sort of the gray area when it comes to intellectual property and whether the AI is sort of copying or stealing from artists to create its output. I kind of look at it this way, that I'm a human being, and as far as and if I were to sit down to write a song, I'm going to pull from songs that I have heard and music that I have heard and the influences that I had. So AI is sort of similar in that way, but AI can sort of zero in and sort of do these with laser precision, sort of recreate a style of an artist and even clone, capture their voice and everything. So there's really two sides to how the AI works. So Rick's video was about the AI industry sort of as a whole, that everybody's building these data centers and everything is AI. And he's saying that when we can run these large language models from our phone or our local computer, there'll be no need for all these huge data centers that everybody's building. So in another maybe 10, 15 years, all that stuff, it'll just collapse. So I'm here with this video to offer up a little sort of even more fuel for that fire, in that, Rick does a lot of videos about AI generated music, and there's a lot of sort of buzz and controversy around AI generated music, and he was just talking about the large language model. But now you can get so if you've heard of these music generation programs like SUNO and UDO that generate music, you have to pay for a subscription in order to get the best model and the best sound quality and all that stuff. And so you can generate music. Well, now they have this program, or this model rather, it's not a program, called Ace Step 1.5 is the model version that's out now. And this is running on a program called Comfy UI. I don't know who comes up with these names, but anyway, it's a way to use models and different components of models to build these AI tools. And not exactly something that the average user would necessarily use, but you can use these models in other ways too. There's easier user tools for them. But anyway, this is how I use my models. So this will kind of blow your mind a little bit. So this is a model that's running completely locally on my computer, and it's a pretty decent computer. It's a gaming computer. It's got a 16 gigabyte graphics card in it. It was less than $2,000 for this thing. Actually, it was less than $1,800. So for the price of a Fender Stratocaster or a Les Paul, you can get a gaming computer, and you can create AI generated music. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to sort of do a quick experiment to show you how this can be done. So Rick had talked about this LM Studio, and this also runs locally on your computer. So if I were to disconnect from the internet right now, I could still do all this stuff. So if we hit new chat and we come up here and we select a model, we'll select Gwen, and we'll just ask it a question. What is the capital of Michigan? And then it shows the thinking process on this model. Not all models do that, but see, capital of Michigan is Lansing. So it took 3.16 seconds to generate that response. Let me see if I got another. There's Gemma. We'll do Gemma 3. Gemma 3 is Google's model. Let me start a new chat with that. So we'll start a new chat. We'll select the Gemma 3 model. And then we'll say, write me a typical 90s country song with 2 verses and a chorus and a bridge. So there's, again, this is running locally, so see how fast it spit out this song. So okay, so we'll see if this song is any good or not. So we'll copy this whole thing. Title Dust on My Boots. It's hilarious. Okay, so there's some notes on it. Instrumentation will be heavy, reliant on steel guitar, acoustic guitar, bass, drums, prominent kick drum, possibly fiddle or banjo, vocals, slightly raspy male voice, strong harmonies, classic country themes, lost love, small town life, regret, and nature imagery. The song tells the story of heartbreak and reflection. Okay, so let's copy that. So then this is that ACE step model that you can create music with. So I already had a song in here that I was playing around with. So we'll stick this in here. Okay, so then we'll have to get rid of some of this extra crap that we don't need. So we're going to do, you have to do these tags. So we'll do the tag, and then we'll take this off of here. And, okay, so we'll do genre country. Steel guitar riff and light drum beat, we'll keep that. These are just tags for the model to know what sort of style you want. And then, okay, we'll get rid of that. And then we'll put tags on. And the tags are just so that the model understands what you're talking about. Because it's not going to, you don't want the model to sing verse 2, verse, you know. So we'll, okay, dust in my boots, tempo slow slightly. We'll just let the model think about it and come up with its own thing. Okay. Dust on my boots and a tear in my eye. This is probably going to be the most generic country song you've ever heard. Okay, outro. Let's do a steel guitar. Where would the bridge? I think this, we'll do steel. Whoops. Yeah, that's fine. I don't think it needs to be capitalized. Steel guitar solo. Okay. All right. So then, okay, country, steel guitar riff, light drum beat. And what did the LLM say about their, there we go, instrument vocals, storytelling. We don't need that. We just need things that'll, there we go, be pertinent to the sound, how it sounds. Okay, heavily reliant, steel guitar, there we go, acoustic. So we want acoustic guitar, bass, drums, prominent kick drum, possibly fiddle or banjo. And you can't tell a model possibly something because it'll just throw it in there. And vocals, a slightly raspy male voice with strong. Okay, so we'll do intro and we'll do raspy vocals. Okay. So I'm not even going to bother reading the lyrics because we're just going to create this thing. Okay, so then you just run it. You run this model. Okay, and then there's some, so we're going to, audio quality is 128K. The length of the song is 3 minutes. Let's make it 3.5 minutes. So 3.5 times 60 is what? 210. Okay. Duration, and then the time signatures 4/4, and then D minor. So let's ask the model, what key are most 90s country songs written in? Fantastic. G minor, C major, D major, G major, G major, C major. Let's do G major. So we'll do G major. Okay. English, this is the language. Beats per minute. Okay, so let's ask the model, what BPM are most 90s country songs? Now remember, this is all local. None of this is going out to the internet at all. So songs written in. Talk about tempo. Dominant range 120 to 135. Okay, I think we already have it set to 125. So that's fine. Okay. And everything else is just stays the same. Okay, so remember, this is a 16 gig graphics card. If you're not familiar, these language models don't use RAM in your computer, which is the memory. They use graphic card memory. So like the 3D graphics processor in your computer, it uses that memory. I don't know why, but that's how it works. So this is going to run pretty fast. So when you run, when you're in SUNO or Udio and you create a song and you hit enter, it takes a couple minutes to generate the actual song. So you're going to see how quick this works on a local machine. Okay, so now it's in the section here, this sampler, so it read the vocal or the dialogue, the lyrics and all that good stuff, and now it's processing the, I don't know exactly what all this stuff is, but pretty quick. I mean, it's okay. So now it's down to this section here, and then when the blue bar comes around here, then it'll save the file, and we'll be able to play it. Okay, so job completed, and it's done. So that was, I don't know, a couple minutes. It didn't take that long at all. So let's play this thing back. Let me see if I've actually got desktop audio here. There we go. The guitar sounds kind of weird.
Sunrise creeping through the pines, another day begins.
Vocals sound good.
Coffee's
Wow.
brewing, smelling sweet, washing away my sins.
That sounds kind of weird.
She left a note upon the porch, just faded blue and white. Said I need something different now, vanished in the morning light. Been walking these dusty roads since, trying to find a trace.
Not bad lyrics either.
Just echoes of her laughter, lost within this lonely place. Dust on my boots and a tear in my
Wow, it's got a good hook to it. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy.
She took the sunshine with her when she went away, and all that's left is heartache here to stay.
And that the keyboard, that's a little weird too. So some of the instruments in this one are kind of cheesy, almost Casio keyboard sounding, but
sharing sweet tea and whispered dreams of love we thought would grow. We built our castle out of promises, sturdy stone and wood. Now just the wind keeps whispering.
And the vocals do sound a little, there's some artifacts and things in it, but
I still drive by that old oak tree where we carved our initials deep.
yeah, that. What is that?
Foolish reminder.
It's like a Casio keyboard.
Dust on my boots,
But the drums sound really good. But the guitar is a little weird.
Sky. She took the sunshine with her when she went away.
But the vocals are really authentic. So
Heartache here to stay.
and that's not a steel guitar solo either. So
Maybe I was too stubborn. Maybe I held on too tight.
look at the bridge.
Didn't realize a love like ours could fade into the night. Some you gotta let go. Find
I
your
wouldn't
own
say
way
that's
through the
90s
pain.
country though. I'd say that's more current country, bro country.
Washing over me again.
But still, not
Dust on
bad.
my boots and a tear in my eye. Another memory beneath this endless sky. She took the sunshine
So anyway,
with her when she went away, and all that's left is heartache here to stay.
so there you go. That gives you an idea of what this stuff is capable of on a local machine. So even, because Beato talks about SUNO quite a bit. He's done quite a few articles about or videos about SUNO and how sort of good the song creation is. And so I think this just sort of speaks to the video that he made about AI, sort of the AI industry, because if there's a difference between, if you're a consumer and you want to use these tools to create songs, you're not going to pay $30 a month or $25 a month, whatever it is, for SUNO when you can just do it for free on your local computer. And a lot of times the stuff that you run on your local machine is a lot less restrictive. Like some image models are censored. Some of them won't let you put other people's faces in there, like if you want to do deep fakes or something like that. And so if you wanted to do a song in Taylor Swift's voice, you could make a parody video or something like that. It wouldn't necessarily let you do that. Although SUNO, I think, is, because they made a deal with one of the record, or they get bought out, I think, by one of the record companies. And so I know they're probably working on that licensing. Well, this stuff, I don't think this one will do voice cloning, but eventually it'll get to the point where you can do voice cloning with these local models. So yeah, it's very interesting. Now the question is AI going to replace everybody, and that AI music will be all we hear? Well, yes and no. I think that for like commercial use, I mean, if you turn on TV, if you watch TV, I mean, I bypass the commercials whenever I can, but if you watch TV and you see commercials nowadays for products and everything from insurance to whatever, those commercials are being made with generative AI. And so it won't be long before all your product jingles and things like that will just be AI generated, because the companies that are creating commercials aren't interested in artistic integrity. They just want a catchy tune for their commercial, or a commercial for their product, and they want to do it as cheaply as possible. So, so there's that, and then the record companies will always be willing to exploit new artists when an artist comes, like this. Oh God, I don't even want to say their name, but amzn.to. They're everywhere right now on YouTube. I can't go on my YouTube feed without seeing one of their videos. And the only reason I've seen them is because I watched Rick Beato's video about them, because everybody convinced him he needed to do a video about him. But anyway, so there's a band that has sort of created a lot of buzz, so they're going to get the attention. So if you have an artist that sort of disrupts things, the record companies will surely latch onto them if they think that they can make some money from it. But that doesn't mean that the record companies also won't use generative AI to try to make money. So that said, I think there's going to be sort of an underground industry for independent music, that human created music will become even a little bit more important. Maybe not to the mainstream, because pop music has always been kind of generic and manufactured. So there's really nothing new about that. So throwing a computer into the mix isn't really, that much different from the way things are operating as is. So I just think going forward, there will be a lot less opportunities for musicians and artists when it comes to commercial work. I think movies will probably still be largely, I think in movies there's going to become a blend of AI generated content and real content. I mean, movies are basically artificial as it is now anyway. If you've seen the behind the scenes on some of these action movies and stuff, you realize how very little of it is real. It's all computer generated, and some of the people are computer generated and everything. So that's not so far-fetched. But I think independent films, YouTube content, they're saying how YouTube content is people are sort of demanding that it become more human, more real, more authentic. But this just sort of shows that, the technology, it's like Rick said about the recording industry. The technology, it gets smaller. You can put it in, eventually you'll be able to do this stuff on your phone, create, sit in the bus on the way to work or the train or whatever and create 3 or 4 songs or an entire album based on prompts right there on your phone. So I think the music industry is probably in trouble again. And I think that Rick is right about AI. The AI industry is a bubble, and that's gonna burst eventually too. I think the music generation is getting really good. The image generation is getting really good, and the models will just get smaller, and they'll be able to run on machines with lower hardware requirements, and even on, like I said, on cell phones and whatnot. So anyway, I just thought this was interesting because I found this today. I've been seeing some videos on my feed about this ACE music generation model, and I just wanted to try it out myself and sort of give you guys a shot at what it can do. So anyway, if you made it this far, I appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. Jayce, Allan Guitar. We'll see you again next time.